Do you love the roar of the surf, the smell of salt in the air, and dream of someday running away from the dreary weekdays on land and the endless traffic jams? Picture a life right in the middle of the sea's mirror-smooth surface. Sounds like a dream, doesn't it? It seems that this dream can come true. There is a solution for those who want to stay by the water forever. Their own floating home. True, such pleasure does not come cheap, so start saving every penny. Today, we are going to show you 20 of the most expensive floating homes in the world. Fasten your seatbelts. This journey will be costly in every sense. Before we begin, I also ask you to subscribe to the channel. You will help us, and in return, we will delight you with new videos. Enjoy the viewing. Meet the floating seahorse villas in Dubai. Although the villa's shape disappoints slightly by not looking much like a seahorse, this is just one of many water residences that have sprung up in this billionaire playground over the past few decades. These ultra-luxurious studios are not for mere mortals. They are aimed at yacht owners who need a chic home right next to the marina. But do not think these are ordinary apartments. These homes, with an area of about 290 square meters, are divided into 3 levels: underwater, at water level, and an upper deck. And it is precisely the underwater floor that makes them truly unique. There you will find the master bedroom and bathroom, whose walls are completely transparent, offering a panoramic view of the coral reef and the marine life around. Just imagine, you are lying in bed watching the fish swim by, while simultaneously providing eye candy for the curious diver drifting past. No privacy? Who needs it in such a palace? Besides, you are promised round-the-clock concierge, 5-star service, and a modest price tag of $1.3 million. Now let us move to Miami, where for only $5.5 million, you can become the owner of this futuristic glass cube on the water. Admit it, sounds tempting, doesn't it? This villa-yacht hybrid sits on the famous South Beach. The trick is that you can literally park it anywhere, because the whole house moves like a boat while still looking like an ultra-modern villa. Want to change the view? Just move to a new spot. Moreover, for a state famous for its hurricanes, there is a special solution here. The house can be raised 5.5 meters above the water with a single press of a button, shielding itself from waves and storms. The windows can withstand winds of up to 250 kilometers per hour. And inside, over 370 square meters of living space with 4 bedrooms and 4.5 bathrooms. There is even a fold-out external patio that retracts into the hull while underway. And of course, what is a luxury purchase without a super expensive kitchen and a wine cellar? This detail truly makes the purchase a bargain. And what can you buy for $25 million? For example, this luxurious home in Boca Raton. Its main trump card is its own waterfront of more than 100 meters, with a dock for your flotilla of boats. Yes, there is definitely enough room for all your watercraft. But that is only the beginning. The house has 4 pools at once. Why have one when you can have 4, right? Among them is a curved infinity pool that wraps around the terrace. Inside, there are over 1,100 square meters of open-plan layout with modern design and gigantic windows. The master bedroom amazes with its size, 186 square meters with enormous walk-in closets and a bathroom the size of a small apartment. There are also 8 additional bedrooms, because in such a house there will be many guests. Yet despite all this wealth, the interior turned out a bit sterile and standard. But that is a matter of the owner's taste. Bring your books and paintings to add coziness. If you dream of living like in a camper but on the water, we have the solution. The Slovenian Bravia Queen is essentially a floating house on a pontoon with a small foredeck and a spacious upper terrace with a jacuzzi and a palm tree. Inside, everything resembles a modern motorhome, built-in furniture in light tones and minimalist design. If you like laminate flooring and simple plumbing fixtures, this is your choice. But to be honest, The house looks more like a cheap variation of a tiny house on water. The only serious advantage is the ability to drop anchor anywhere from a lake to a lagoon. Yet let us be honest, this is more a fun experiment than a luxurious dwelling. Now let us look at a house that tries to combine classic and ultra-modern. Wave House is a real masterpiece of architectural vanity. The architects were inspired by the shape of a ship, creating curved wooden lines as if a wave had frozen in motion. This house has already collected a heap of awards. Designers love handing them to each other for anything that looks unusual. The structure itself is quite traditional in substance. Glass, wood, steel, spacious rooms. But the key feature is that very spectacular curved form that supposedly makes it unique. Yes, it is beautiful, but how functional is it? Who knows? In essence, it is just a luxurious house with whimsical architecture. The world will not change because of it, but you will be able to boast to your guests. Back to Florida, this time to Fort Lauderdale. Here, at a prestigious yacht show, a real palace on the water was presented, the Mansion Yacht. Built in 2019, this floating home is positioned as something between a luxury villa and a yacht. Only it cannot go anywhere and will not replace your boat. That does not stop the makers from proudly declaring it is the first stainless steel yacht home in the world. The basic version costs a mere $12 million. For that money, you get about 840 square meters of gleaming steel capable of holding up to 149 people. The foredeck also impresses, almost 150 square meters. Inside, there are 5 bedrooms, 5 bathrooms, and a jacuzzi for 7. The manufacturers say that the main buyers will be billionaires. Only it is interesting. Will Elon Musk find 6 friends to share this huge jacuzzi with him? And now we move to rainy Seattle, famous for its almost endless downpours. But that does not stop the locals from loving water so much that they build houses right on its surface. This chic floating mansion offers a 270-degree view of the lake, the Olympic Mountains, and downtown Seattle. What is astonishing? Despite the house standing on water, it has a full basement, 2 living floors, and a huge covered terrace. Space, comfort, panoramic windows, everything at the highest level. And all this costs a modest $6.25 million. Frankly, for that price, you could take 3 at once, just in case. Now, let us head to Portugal and look at another example of architectural inventiveness. A modular houseboat by the design group Friday. This is Float Wing, a house with a modular construction that can be stretched or shrunk simply by adding or removing sections. All the walls here are glass panels that can be slid aside, turning the space into the fashionable nowadays, indoor-outdoor. But do not think that is all. In the basic version, the house is not motorized, but for an additional fee, you can equip it with 2 outboard motors capable of accelerating the floating house to as much as 3 knots. Fast? Well, it is a house. In addition, everything is provided here for the eco-illusion. Solar panels, batteries, a pellet stove, water storage tanks. There is even a super luxurious version that is fully autonomous in warm seasons. An excellent idea for those who want to spend a fortune while pretending to be protectors of nature. And now, let us look at a house for those who want to hide far away from everyone, right in the heart of the rainforest. Yes, if finances allow, you can build an entire palace amid lush jungle greenery. This luxurious, truly no compromise home is equipped with every modern convenience despite its remote location. The architects claim that the project is designed to maximize the fusion of architecture and nature. But let us be honest, that sounds like a pretty excuse for those who simply want a chic house in the most picturesque spot on the planet, far from prying eyes. It is built to blend with the landscape and remain virtually invisible to casual onlookers. From the windows, there are breathtaking views of the sea, the mountains, and, of course, the endless green of the forest. Luxury, seclusion, and exclusivity. These are the three words that best describe this floating and slightly hidden piece of paradise. And now something truly futuristic and even a bit cinematic. This concept was born in the head of an architect when he was 15 years old, after he watched the cult James Bond film The Spy Who Loved Me. Do you remember the villain who lived underwater in a lair resembling an octopus? Our hero was inspired by this image and decided to bring to life his own underwater luxury suite. The result? Athenea, the first floating hotel suite in the world, which has already made waves in the world of ecotourism. Be ready for rocking though. Seasickness can become part of the multi-sensory experience. These capsule apartments are made of fiberglass, have panoramic 360-degree windows, and even a transparent bottom, allowing you to admire the underwater world without getting up from your designer armchair. No sacrifice to comfort. There is air conditioning, stylish furniture, a mini bar, everything your soul desires. Want the most secluded spot? Please, this suite can be towed to where neither tourist crowds nor curious eyes will reach. We move to a new level of madness and price tags. Let us introduce you to an entire city on the water. Yes, not just a house, but a full-fledged floating metropolis that developers want to build in the Caribbean Sea. And the cost of the project staggers the imagination. $1.5 billion. It is a whole artificial island made of ultra-strong concrete and modular blocks that can be assembled like a construction set. The design, however, looks more like something between a future prison and a secret military base. But what do I understand about billionaires' tastes? They apparently like the idea of living in the middle of the ocean, surrounded by sharks and impregnable concrete walls. Apartments on this island will start at a price of $4,000 for the most modest closet and reach more than $1 billion. Do not forget that the staff has to be placed somewhere as well. So, if you have always wanted to be locked on a concrete platform in the middle of the sea, this is your chance. Well, what do you think? Would you like to live in such a place? Discuss it in the comments. And now about a house that is called floating, mostly for show. In fact, it stands on a hillside with an ocean view. This chic mansion in Laguna Beach, California, spares no expense on either architecture or panoramas. The trick is that from the street, it is practically invisible, while from the beachside it is completely open with its gigantic glass walls. Total transparency, not only for the view, but also to demonstrate your wealth. Would you like every beachgoer to see what you are doing at lunch? The house was built in 2004 by a well-known Orange County architect famous for his trophy mansions for the richest clients of Los Angeles. 3 stories, 4 bedrooms, and about 500 square meters of space in glass and concrete. The cost? A mere $14.9 million, and apparently there was no budget left for curtains. Let us return to 2014, when an Australian engineer named Tim Knox decided to change the rules of the game and designed an entirely solar floating villa called Mothership. It would seem that the idea is simple and brilliant. A houseboat powered solely by solar energy. Especially logical for Australia, where the sun pours down almost without stopping. But not everything is so simple. Despite the fashion for solar panels, at that time, he could not find a single investor. Strange, right? Today, we constantly hear about solar batteries on floating homes, but then his idea seemed too bold. This boathouse was designed to be completely self-sufficient. Panels on the roof, batteries below, a water storage system. True, in Europe, such a project might turn out pointless. In gloomy, rainy regions, the electricity would be enough to charge an oar at best. Well, let us hope that Knox managed to patent his ideas before someone else raked in all the money on solar yachts. And now, another fashionable trend, the so-called floating villas. It seems that architects all over the world are trying to convince the rich that if their house is a boat, then global warming is no threat to them. Spoiler: even the most expensive floating homes will not save you from a mega tsunami. This Dutch project looks like a modern office that suddenly learned to cruise along the canal. Arriving at the desired spot, the owners simply lower the folding ramp and roll their car out of the garage. Convenient? Yes. Glamorous? Well, debatable. Inside, everything is standard. Bedrooms, bathrooms, living rooms, all in a cold, modern, and slightly soulless style. As if you live right on a page of an IKEA catalog. But someone likes it, and the demand for such houses is only growing. Who knows? Maybe this is the future of housing for the elite. We move to Copenhagen. The idea of using old sea containers for housing did not appear yesterday. Initially, it was a cheap solution for those who could not afford accommodation in the city, and at the same time, an ecological way to reuse the bulky waste of global trade. But as usual, where there is a whiff of profit, developers rush in immediately. Urban Rigger is a project of 9 recycled containers mounted on a floating platform in Copenhagen Harbor. Inside are individual studios rented to students for about $600 a month. There are common living areas, an inner courtyard, a basement with laundry and storage rooms. But that is not all. For real eco-style, the house is covered with solar panels, has a green roof, and a unique heating and cooling system using seawater. Even NASA lent a hand. The insulation here uses space technology. Oh yes, there is also a platform for kayaks and swimming. Modern students will appreciate it. Expensive boathouse in Canada, where most of the year it is terribly cold. But yes, in 2017, this floating dacha in Bluffers Park Marina, Toronto came onto the market for an impressive $1.5 million. Not modest for a floating cabin, right? Realtors described it as an incredible place to live on the water, with stunning views of the harbor. Well, what did you expect? If the house is right in the marina, naturally you will be looking at other such houses and boats. Still, buyers found their advantages. The house has 3 levels with open terraces on each. Inside, a classic layout with an open-plan kitchen and cozy living areas. Essentially, it is a neat, compact cottage on the water. And yes, winters in Toronto are cold. But will that stop a true connoisseur of floating comfort? After all, nobody has canceled the fireplace. That is all. We have looked at the most expensive and unusual houses floating on water. From futuristic capsules to entire cities in the ocean, luxury knows no bounds here. Would you dare to live in the middle of the sea in a glass villa, or would you choose a cozy home on the shore? Write which option is closer to you. Thank you for watching. More unique stories and incredible top lists lie ahead. Do not miss them.